Whether you love her or you hate her, one thing Cardi B is going to do is be her authentic self. I just got done watching her interview On Purpose with Jay Shetty Podcast, and there's some things that I want to talk to you about from a licensed therapist perspective. So if you've already watched it, I need for you to put in the comment section, what did you think about this interview? What did you think about Cardi B and Jay Shetty? But if you have not, go on over to Jay Shetty's YouTube channel. The episode is about 2 hours long, and then come back and chat with us in the comment section because we got some things to talk about. The first thing that we have to talk about in regards to Cardi B on this interview is her authenticity. I already mentioned this, but she is her authentic self at all times. Some people may view her as a little ghetto. Some people say they can't stand the sound of her voice. Some people say she can't speak well. They hate her accent. She doesn't use proper grammar. At the end of the day, no matter what you think about her, I think we can respect the fact that she does not try to be anybody she is not. And she even mentioned in this interview how other celebrities are always hitting her up, reaching out to her and saying, dang, I wish I could say some of the stuff that you be saying, because I think about it, but I just don't vocalize it because of my career and because of my celebrity status. Now, full transparency, I have not watched any, not even one piece of a drop of any of the other interviews that Cardi B has done over the years or period. Especially I have not, emphasis on the not, been following her relationship or her marriage with Offset. So my thoughts and what I'm going to share in this video is strictly just about the interview that she did with Jay Shetty. But if there's some other tea that you want to put in the comment section to keep me updated, feel free to do so. And speaking of her relationship or her marriage with Offset, I honestly thought that she was going to talk about it a little bit more, especially based on the title of the interview. The title was something along the lines of like, what people don't know about my marriage or what people didn't know about my relationship. And it's like, okay, she gonna talk a lot about this, but she really didn't. The main thing that I got from her in regards to her marriage is that she felt the marriage and the relationship was dying. But she said something really powerful that I thought was really relatable. She talked about how your heart has to be done in order for you to move on. Now, let's bring this to real life. Let's bring this to me and you. I'm pretty sure that you and I have been through experiences where our hearts and our minds were disconnected in regards to a relationship. We've all been in situations, most of us at least, where we should have moved on. We shouldn't have went back to that ex. We should have been done, but we just still love them. We thought that it could work and we wanted to give it another shot. But there's something powerful about when your heart and your mind gets on one accord. You can do some powerful things like end a relationship that is no longer serving you. And it seems like that's what she did in regards to her marriage with Offset. She talked about how in the moments when she tried to be vulnerable and be accountable, he weaponized that, and that's unacceptable. Now, before we move on to talk about her parenting and motherhood and mental health and a whole bunch of other stuff I want to talk to you guys about, it has come to my attention that only about 4 to 5% of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed to my channel. So if you are enjoying this video or any of my other content, it would mean the world to me if you simply just press that subscribe button and hit the notification button as well, because it does help me to create content like this for you every single week. Well, let's talk about parenting in regards to Cardi B. I thought the way that she talked about motherhood and parenting, it really shows that she's a good mom. And straight up, she seems to love her kids. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of using profanity and cussing at your children or around them. I don't think that that's the best thing to do. Back to what we mentioned already, Cardi B is gonna be her authentic self, and profanity is a huge part. She got a potty mouth. I can't remember how many times she cussed in this interview. I was like, oh, you gonna use the F word and God in the same okay. I'm not here to judge her, but it is interesting to know that she just wants the best for her children, just like any other parent would. Jay was like, what is one of the worst things that, your kids could do? She was like, them being a loser, them doing nothing with their life. She emphasized wanting her kids to be better than her. Don't be lazy and don't be a bum. I think that that's any parent's wish. You want your kids to be better than you, have more than you, excel, do all of the things, because she talked about how she did not want her kids to be raised up in the hood or to be raised in the ghetto. She knows what that feels like, and she did all that she could to make sure that her children didn't have that experience. She said, I needed to make sure my life was stabilized first. I need to get my bread up. I need to do all of those things. And then I chose to have children. The next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is mental health and therapy. I was surprised that she brought this up into this conversation. She was real raw and authentic about the deepest depression that she has ever been in. She talked about she wasn't sleeping, she wasn't eating, she was sad, she didn't know who she was. And at that moment, she knew that her mental health was dwindling. And she did go see a therapist, kudos to her. But she talked about it in a way that it was like, was it helpful or was it not helpful to you? I kind of am confused about that part. But one thing we do know for sure is that the deepest depression that she talked about experiencing was absolutely probably due to her relationship or her marriage, but also to just the scrutiny that you get from being in the limelight and trying to do your best. She was honest about the level of criticism that she receives is at a very high level. And when you work really hard on a project or an album or to do anything in life, the internet, social media, and people are just going to go hardcore on you, and it does impact your mental health and it does impact your self-esteem. It's like, it sucks when you work really hard for something, but people who don't know you say that you don't deserve it. And it's really hard to stay relevant and maintain your mental health successfully. And I felt that deeply. I was like, wow, this is a real conversation, because I made another video previously that I'll link up here and put it in the description for you guys, where I talk about celebrities and how they just regular people just like you and I have the opportunity to work with a lot of celebrities, a lot of A-list clients, a lot of high profile individuals. And frankly, they go through the same issues that you and I go to. They just got a little bit more money, notoriety, fame, fortune, all of those things. For some reason, we forget that. And I think we live in this society now, especially with social media being so huge, where we weren't meant to have all of these eyes and ears on us 24/7 without fail. Listen, all of the other previous generations didn't have social media. You couldn't find a million people to talk bad about you and your album and what you got on and your kids and your marriage and your relationship all at once. It wasn't a thing, but now it is. And we can't sit up here and act like it's not impacting not just celebrities, but just regular people in general. We're not meant to be this connected and on 24/7. But that's a different conversation for another day. One of the things that I highly disagree with her and Jay on was that they both mentioned like time heals all, or time heals. And I've mentioned this before on my channel before. I disagree with that. I don't think time heals a doggone thing. I think what you do in that time frame does the healing. I know people who have experienced something, and because 20, 30 years have passed, they're still dealing with the same stuff. Time didn't heal anything, but I also know other people who may have dealt with something similar, and within 6 months and within a year, and they're putting in the work and they're going to therapy and they're processing and they're doing everything that they need. Now they're on that healing journey and now they're doing better. Well, I don't believe time heals. What you do within the time frame does the healing. She went to therapy. I'm here for that. But I also think you need to stay in therapy. The little 6 sessions that she mentioned she went to isn't enough. I know people who are in therapy for years consistently to work through their stuff, their childhood trauma, their divorce, their negative experiences, what they have been going through. So 6 sessions, that ain't even 2 months, boo. So I need for you to go ahead, get back into therapy and work through your stuff. Because something else is going to consistently happen to you. And now you're going to be back at square one again. I don't want her to have to go through that deepest depression again. You know, I have a colleague and a friend named Dr. Glenna Anderson, and she talks about therapy being a lifestyle. And I think that's what a lot of people need to remember, that therapy isn't just something that you put on, you put off, you put on, you take off, you do. Like it's a lifestyle. And it helps in every area of your life, especially relationally. And that's why I wrote my book, Hard Work or Harmony, because it talks about how to have healthy relationships for women with your family, with friends, and with coworkers. So if you want to check that out, I'll put it on screen and also put it in the description so you can check it out, because I think that this is really powerful for those who do want to take their relationships and just their life to the next level. The last thing we have to talk about in regards to Cardi B that surprised me was how she was talking about Jesus. Okay, like if you don't know, I am Team Jesus on this channel, okay? And for her to talk about Jesus, to say that she prays and how her faith is integrated, I was actually low-key shocked. I think this shocked me because, one, we know her music is different. It's not necessarily holy. She does have a potty mouth. But I also love when celebrities or high profile people talk about their faith. That's really important to stay rooted and grounded, because we don't really know what goes on with people behind closed doors and what's truly important to them. The fact that she talked about praying and being thankful and having a relationship with God, and she mentioned Jesus a few times, I said, okay, Cardi, we see you. didn't know how her faith played a huge role in her life. And I think people will probably still look at her, especially, judgmental Christians, and be like, yeah, well, she said that she a Christian, but she really ain't. It's okay, because people are on their own individual journeys. If she continues to have an authentic relationship with God, God will convict her, God will refine her, God will tame her mouth, God will do all of the things. There will come a point when you truly walking with the Lord and he will convict your heart and say, you can't talk like that, you can't wear that, you can't do this, and then it becomes a lifestyle shift and a lifestyle change, and it's not just words, it's actions. So my final thoughts on this was that I thought it was a really powerful interview. Again, I've never watched any other interview that Cardi B has ever done, but I think Jay did this really interesting thing, which he has not done in many of his other interviews, was just to let Cardi B talk. I think he talks more frequently and often in his other interviews, which is fine, but in this one, he was a little bit more reserved. Like, he was just very quiet at times, and he just let her talk and talk and talk. And normally I would probably drag him for filth and be like, sir, you're the host. Like, why aren't you keeping this conversation going and engaging? But I think she needed that. And I think we needed that. We needed to see her in a different light and just for her to share and express whatever was on her heart. So thank you so much for watching another review on my channel. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Be blessed. Bye.